Hello, everyone. That intro called, but I forgot to hit a button. So we were all just like, okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Next Issue podcast. Feels like it's been a year since we did this. And it's only been, what, a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Longer for me. I don't think I've been on for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh was at one, and then we skipped one, and then the previous one we had also skipped. So Josh has a lot of stuff in his backlog to talk about. Or maybe not. Maybe just been sitting at home twirling his thumbs.
It could be both.
That's what I've been doing.
Reading one book, but like a book.
It was just some community service that he had to take care of.
Everything you guys are saying is true. That's the scary thing. There's not one incorrect thing in any of that.
Yeah. So on today's show, we are going to be talking about, well, I changed the title to our favorite Halloween treats because my original idea for this podcast got changed along the way.
Tell us how the producing of this show goes. You give instructions and we don't listen.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's funny because it's like we have a Discord, but somehow it still ends up being like a game of telephone. I think it has a lot to do with everybody's reading comprehension and the way you. I also am not the best writer, so like sometimes I think I'm getting out a very specific message. Maybe I'm not. I don't know if I put on there like. I think at the end of the paragraph I just put on there or whatever the hell you guys want, and I didn't even notice. So,
but I will. These are notes. These are only the things that we keep behind the scenes, and I can't think of things this early in the morning, so I write everything down at night.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing because your notes are always Danny's notes are always, "Hey, Skibbity," no cap. We got show this weekend, and then like the rest of us are old, and we're like, I don't even know what he's saying. I understood Halloween.
I'm still trying to figure out who the Rizzler is.
Yeah,
you just saw the word Halloween, and I was like, okay, got it.
I got it. I get what he's saying.
Got it. So let's get into it. I'll kick us off to kind of set a pace, and then I asked for 5 things, and maybe we'll talk about a few more things or whatever the case may be. But
you did go into hard horror, goofy horror. You gave us different things to pick.
Yeah,
it's really hard to narrow that down to 5.
What I meant.
Hey everybody, this is our Halloween episode. Hey everybody watching, welcome to Next Issue podcast. Welcome to our spooky Halloween episode. Lightning.
Yeah. I guess my intention was that you didn't have to. I didn't want you guys to just do like hardcore horror films. That you could go from anything from spooky or comedy horror all the way to like that was.
So I could recommend Casper and then a double feature with Mandy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that'd be fun.
And if you can get us there in that, if you can, if you have a specific reason, maybe it's all Macaulay Culkin related or something like. But I'm gonna start with I couldn't decide and this is my 5, but I mean these are really no specific order. These are more like classics. I couldn't pick between the original Halloween and the original Alien film. And
both excellent choices.
Yeah. And I just I hope you feel the same about the rest of my list, because I think for the rest of my list I really leaned into like what did I grow up watching in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I know. It just went pure white noise after you said early 2000s and the words growing up.
Is Doom starring The Rock on your list?
Is it ever?
It's number 1.
It's just 4 Dooms in a row.
I do have to admit I'm curious because the early 2000s are remakes of a lot of classic horror films that are real, they didn't do them very well, but I'm curious what your top ones are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I wanted to throw Halloween in there. It's great. I mean, I really love that film, and I like some of the remakes and some of the other ones, but like that one's just kind of in a league of its own. Same with Alien, because you kind of get two movies in one, which I love that. Like the first 45 minutes is this like really spooky sci-fi thriller exploration, and then it just turns into the horror. Like at that dinner scene, as the camera turns, the movie itself turns into something else, right? So
yeah,
I love that. So, all right, let me pass it off to Clay, and we'll just kind of go around.
You would do all five or just one? Or
no, just do one. Let's just do one, and then we'll keep, or do one or two, or like brief statements like that. So
okay. Well, everyone, I think I'm doing this really just to pick on the Halloween fans because everyone hates Halloween 3 and I love Halloween 3. So I just love Tom Atkins in Halloween 3. It is a jump from the franchise, but there's just something kind of weird that they were going to do this anthology and then this came out. This was a film I grew up with because it was on cable all the time, but I really have a greater appreciation now that I'm older and I've read the book, but it's because it's a movie about technology taking over. But Halloween 3 is just one of my favorite films for all the weirdest reasons.
It's funny because I'm on a Discord for a podcast that I listen to where people just watch movies, and a few people were going to screenings of Halloween 3, like they were re-releasing it for like. So I think it's kind of come back and found an audience, and people understand that. I guess there's so many Halloweens now that nobody feels that it was as sacred as it originally was, right?
Yeah, I mean, once they started making like the cult one and then the Danny McBride one, it was like, oh, we have all these different timelines. We could do whatever. It really just depends on if Jamie Lee Curtis wants to come back or not.
Rob Zombie got a shot at two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the Rob Zombie aesthetic, the dirty, gritty look of horror. And I like his take on it, but it's not. I mean, if I'm going to revisit Halloween, I'm just going to watch John Carpenter. That's the tough part. He can't outdo the original. He's just going to put his style on it.
Nice.
Okay. What's the one where they ask Michael what his last name is, and he says Skywalker?
9. I think that's 9.
Oh, 9. Okay, that's 9.
Right.
I gotta write that down.
The credits.
Yeah.
It's weird to see him riding around with a lightsaber on that one, but okay.
Oh shit, that would be awesome.
What's really strange in that one is that the lightsaber is also a chainsaw. I don't know. It's very weird.
Those kyber crystals can do anything.
Yeah, true.
Now I want to see Leatherface with a dual-ended chainsaw. Just come at it Darth Maul style.
All right.
Could you imagine going at a tree with a dual-ended chainsaw?
You'd end up with one limb yourself. Okay. Josh, what do you have?
Oh, I know I've talked about this on the show before, but I am a huge fan of the 1963 The Haunting. I think it is. Quite honestly, until I watched, which I gave honorable mention, the 2018 Haunting of Hill House. It's on Netflix. I forget the creator's name. What's his name?
Mike Flanagan.
Thank you. It was the best adaptation of. Sorry, I'm getting shine of light on me. The best adaptation of that Shirley Jackson story, and all right. So I grew up in the 80s, the golden era of slasher films. This will get me kicked off the show. I know I am not a fan of slasher films. I never have been.
Ooh.
I know. It's just it's not my thing. As a kid, it really grossed me out. So I was never really the right age for it, at its sort of peak. Yeah, exactly. But I
would not approve.
Yeah, but I love psychological horror, and the thing about The Haunting in 1963 is that it's a classic Hitchcock take. It terrifies you with very little. It uses sound, it uses building up tension and your expectation, and it does such a great job. It is a fantastic movie. I had the chance to see it in the theater, which was nice. So, yes.
John Carpenter's Halloween isn't gory and builds tension with music. It does all those things you're asking for.
I know,
and it's a slasher.
I know. No, you're right. But I feel like that was at the front end of the whole slasher movement, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like it was doing something unique. That okay, this is such a bad comparison, but we are on a podcast. John Carpenter's Halloween is Watchmen, right? To what all of the slasher films later came, which was all they took from it was, like with Watchmen, it needs to be adult and gritty, right? And slasher films just took, it needs to be slashery. And they missed, I think, a lot of the nuance. And so, but I do need to see Halloween. So.
That's the key to John Carpenter's films, because like if you look at Halloween 1 that he directed, there's no like blood and gore, but if you go to 2, there's blood everywhere. It is a gore fest. So
did he do 2 as well, or is that a different?
No,
director?
he's just a producer. He's a different director.
Gotcha. Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, Black Christmas was kind of the first slasher film, and that was in '74. And then like Halloween just took off, and then it was everyone wanted to do some version of that, and Friday the 13th is another one.
Yeah, I've actually seen Black Christmas, and it's got some pretty gnarly kills. There's one where somebody gets beheaded, and it's a really cool effect. And I'm like, whoa! People in the '70s must have been losing their shit at the theater when they saw this.
And Margot Kidder's in it, early Lois Lane.
Yes. Really? Oh wow! I didn't know that. Interesting. All right, but anyway, that's the Haunting, 1963.
Nice. So I'm a little similar to Josh in that I grew up in the 80s, and I did not really get into horror until like I'm I'll mess around with horror movies now, but back then they weren't really my thing. So most of my movies that I associate with Halloween are not big slash like horror movies I can just watch any time of year. Like I don't really associate them with Halloween really.
Yeah.
Most of my Halloween associations are with kids movies because that's kind of what I feel Halloween is for. I'm more of a Christmas guy, but I think they actually go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So as right before Halloween ends, I will make sure to watch Nightmare Before Christmas, because it is the perfect bridge between the 2 seasons. For that movie. It's just it's got all the scary stuff, it's got all the Christmas stuff. How can you go wrong? It's great.
Well, if you ask Target, they definitely agree, because the Halloween section, as it goes on, it starts being replaced by the ever-growing Christmas section. While what's the little the skeleton name? Like
Jack
Skellington?
No, the one from Target. Whatever. It just gives the middle finger to Thanksgiving. Like we don't need any.
I see.
But yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is just a nice little stop-off point between the 2 major holidays.
Thanksgiving exists so that you remember why you don't want to invite family to Christmas.
Right.
It's like
not my family. I love my family. I'm just saying in general.
But if you don't get an invite from Josh after Thanksgiving, you know what happens.
Also, while making up this list, because I'm the one that ignored the rules the most, I think. But I started thinking, is E.T. a Halloween movie? So the argument for Die Hard is that it takes place during Christmas, but E.T. also takes place during Halloween. It's a pretty integral part of the movie.
I think by that logic, then yes, it is.
E.T.
I agree. Yeah,
and it's also terrifying, and it's a slasher flick. So it has all the features. Has a beheading. I've never seen E.T. No, I'm kidding. I haven't.
It's a slasher. How could you be? I don't know any Gen Xer who's never seen E.T.
It was impossible not to see.
Kids, movies that came out in the 70s and 80s would stay in theaters for years.
Exactly.
And then they would
sorry, Danny, go ahead.
Now, when they made it to TV, they would also just air all the time because there wasn't like 50 Marvel movies to play on rotation, right?
Right.
Exactly.
This is how we all memorized every word of The Mummy, because it was on TNT every all those movies that would show on TNT forever and ever and ever.
Well, and we're forgetting a key aspect here. The same era was the dawn of cable and the VCR. Mm-hmm. So how often did we film a movie off of TV and then rewatch it until basically that tape wore out, right? So
yeah. See, Star Wars was on.
Yeah. HBO Weekend preview. Let's get the VCR ready.
yeah.
Because Star Wars was on cable for a very short time until they realized, like, oh, we could like sell these tapes, and so like I recorded it off cable and then just watched it on that tape over and over and over again.
Yeah, same. I had one summer where I think I watched it at least twice a week. Over that summer. So.
Yeah, I watched Star Wars, like, I swear I've seen that movie over 200 times. Easily over 200 times.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Right. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Joe.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Just trying to keep this train on the tracks. That's what
exactly. You got
good luck.
You got 3 actors down here, like waxing poetic.
When Jeff started talking, I was like, "Oh, we're making pretty good time. We're gonna get through this list very well."
Nope.
And now we're here. So let me get on to the next one. And this is kind of where we get into what Clay was talking about and Josh was talking about his grungy effect look of remakes from the 2000s. So I'm going to start with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003. Oh my goodness.
I knew Clay was going to do that.
What the actual fuck?
I actually I didn't watch the original Texas Chainsaw till like 20 years after I saw this film or something. And they look so different. And I just, there's something about, I mean, there's a lot of things, including Jessica Biel, about
the girls are definitely hotter. The girls are definitely hotter in the newer one. So,
so
Clay is literally steaming.
Yeah. But oh my goodness, I really like that film. It's gross and it's disgusting, and I'm not a big horror gore type of guy, but like I think that's kind of where close to the perfect zone for me. Like anything else going into Eli Roth territory, then it's too far.
But in the original Texas Chainsaw, a lot of the violence is implied. Like when you see the girl put on the hook, you don't see it. You just see a girl moved up there. You never see the hook go in her back. You never see, like the chainsaw hits a leg or hits something and there's like, and that's it. It's just, it's all the things around it, the atmosphere that makes you really feel like, oh, this is a disturbing place.
I agree. And I've seen both. And like I said, I think I like them both in different ways. I do want to. What's the name?
Clay's dying.
Arlie Ermy, the sheriff in this one. Oh my god, he's perfect. Like it's almost as if he was bored. And I think they did get John Larroquette to re-narrate the opening, or I guess they used maybe the same audio from the original film. I don't know what the case is, but
that's what I was trying to remember. Like who is the famous actor associated with Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
John Larroquette.
John Larroquette.
Yeah.
In between night courts, he did this. I mean, the movie starts with Sweet Home Alabama, so like I'm already like way in. So, but yeah, I really like that film. So I'll let Clay go now before he passes out.
Yeah, because if you tell me you like the remake of this movie, holy shit! Another John Carpenter movie for me is The Fog. Again, music, atmosphere. There are like maybe 2 gross out scenes, I would say, in that whole film. But again, Tom Atkins being Tom Atkins, picking up hot chicks, having sex, and then fighting monsters. I mean, that's what Halloween's about, isn't it?
That's what Halloween's about. Okay, yeah. I I will believe you when I finally see a sexy Tom Atkins Halloween costume. So
they did it on Mystery Science Theater.
There you go.
Yeah, did you not
Oh
did
my
you not
God.
see when oh gosh, who was before Emily? Jonah did a Tom Atkins on Mystery Science Theater. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta track that down.
So send us your hot Tom Atkins picks.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Josh will rate them.
Yeah,
I will-
yeah. I would do
But
horror.
the remake of The Fog like is like
it's
watching oh, it's so fucking bad. It is the fucking worst thing. And to sit
But
through
it's
it.
bad in a way that it's entertaining to me because it's Tom Welling. So I'm like, oh, Superman's in this film.
Yeah, like everyone in there, it's like supposed to be like a fishing town and everything, but everyone's like fucking model perfect and beautiful looking and everything, and like Selma Blair's supposed to be the older DJ.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and she has a kid, and you're like, she looks 23.
It's like they put the fog through the CW lens.
Yeah,
That is
Selma
not-
Blair and Tom Welling are in this movie. I got to see this movie. So
Right.
you've actually talked,
Yeah.
you've actually
I will
talked me
tell you-
into it.
The soundtrack is pretty dope. If you grew up in the like late 90s, early 2000s with all that all rock, I also get the fog and the mist confused all the time, and I always got to remember like, oh, Thomas Jane is the mist and Superman is the fog.
Yeah, the Mist has the better ending.
Especially if you've seen the alternate ending.
Oh fuck, that Mist is so dark. That is one of my hardcore horror films because I listened to it as a book. There was an audio feature that did a theater in the round, so it had a whole cast. And you could hear it in 3D. And so I had grown up with The Mist as an audiobook, and then seeing that movie, I was like, that ending just rips your heart out.
Interestingly enough, The Mist is very relevant with the message that resonates to today. Good job, Stephen King. I think that's a Stephen King book, right?
The Mist, yeah.
I just assume most of them are. All right.
This did get me to thinking. So, I'm wondering, fog has a visibility of less than 1,000 meters, whereas mist has a visibility greater than or equal to 1,000 meters.
I guess he just couldn't call it the fog.
or you can see slightly further.
But that's the thing is like with John Carpenter, and I guess if you want to compare The Mist and the Fog, like the way it's done, like they got better special effects obviously in The Mist, and you can see these kind of creatures, but really it's just it's really like these pirates that are in the background, these fishermen, and that's it. And it's like, well, how scary are they? But he makes them scary. That's the best part of it, is the slow reading of the journal saying like how they basically killed all these people to take this land.
Well, I love
the original Fog. The second one where she kind of disappears into the story at the end is like,
I've never seen The Fog or The Mist. Don't hate me, but it does remind me. Has anyone here ever read Joe Lansdale's The Drive-In?
No.
Okay, so it is horrifying. I recommended it to my wife years ago, and she read it, and she's like, she just got in. It's like, that was the darkest shit I've ever read. So basically, The Drive-In is a bunch of people go to a drive-in theater, and during the course of the movie, this fog surrounds the theater, and anyone that tries to leave just dies horribly. And so the rest of the book is basically that ad hoc community slowly devolving into chaos. And so the thing is, the horror isn't really the fog around the drive-in. It's the fact that everyone at the drive-ins is slowly going insane. It's a terrifying book. So
it's that's pretty misty.
Ooh,
yeah. That's why
the horror is
in my head.
Right?
Yeah.
Most of the time it is. Yeah.
Lord of the Flies with popcorn.
Yeah, the monster is on Main Street.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's Twilight Zone, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, how do they find out that the people that leave the movie theater in the fog die? The people that stay.
I'm trying to remember, but I feel like as soon as they hit the fog, something horrible happens to them.
They explode.
Yeah, no, it is something like their body like strips apart, or like it's been literally decades since I read the
Have you
book.
seen Loki, Jeff? That's what happens to them.
Yeah. So it's like they don't. It's not like they get in their cars and drive away and die. Like once they leave the building, they die.
Right.
Okay.
Once
I was like, because I was putting myself. I was like, if I were
Yeah.
to walk out of like, I would just leave the theater, go to a movie.
No, but
I'm
it's
like,
a drive-in,
foggy.
right?
No. It's a drive-in. It's a drive-in.
Drive-in. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a drive-in. So they've got their cars, and they're in a kind of open space. So yeah.
Oh, that makes sense then.
Oh, now it makes sense. All right,
Now
cool, great.
Now I buy the premise of the story. Before I was not.
Yeah, all right, Josh, please get us back on track.
Okay, sure. So again, another thing I've talked about on the show before, but I only discovered them fairly recently, but probably in the past decade, I've become a huge fan of the original Universal horror movies. And it's actually hard for me to pick just one, so I'm going to give you two. Okay, Frankenstein is great. Don't get me wrong. That actually, if you want a perfect double show, watch Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein. Because The Bride of Frankenstein picks up immediately after the end of Frankenstein. So you can actually, kind of like watching Back to the Future 2 and 3. You can like just jump right in, you know? Those are really great, but I do want to give a shout out to 1932's The Mummy. Partly because it is not really a scary film, but it is a beautifully made film. There are details in that film that when you're watching it, like still stick with me. Like the dust coming off of his hand when the mummy comes alive the first time. I mean, just like these little details that just add all this ambiance and kind of like texture to the film. Really, really good. I love 1932's The Mummy.
Your dog obviously agrees.
I know, Jesus. I'm gonna mute in a second. And then again, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, really good. And when you watch Bride of Frankenstein, clock when the bride shows up.
Yeah, because it's a while into the
Pink
film.
Floyd album.
Yeah. I think your dogs are recommending Cujo. They're saying, "Hey, what about Cujo?"
Yeah, probably.
Representation for dogs. All right, Jeff. Well, Josh does something about it, the noise.
This is where I start delineating from the list of movies. I like going back and watching old Halloween episodes of television shows during Halloween. Mostly because nowadays everything's streaming, so you don't see as many like holiday episodes because they don't follow any kind of television schedule. And I think that's terrible. But like I love going back and watching like the old Buffy, the Halloween specials, just anything I can think of. Community, the old Simpsons, Treehouse of Horrors, obviously are out there. But I love it when you take these characters that you get used to over a period of time and you put them in that funny, like they're all wearing costumes and stuff. That's great. That Community episode. Yeah, the Buffy one's classic. The Community one where Abed dresses like Batman and pretends to be Batman the whole episode.
Yes.
They're all just so fun. And I wish they would bring them back. Like what does the Bears Halloween episode look like? I don't even know if there is one in season whatever.
I don't think so.
I mean, unless you count that dinner was scary. So I will say I'm very excited about the upcoming Abbott Elementary Halloween episode.
They haven't. Yeah, see, but it's a network television show, so they
network television is still doing it. Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. I love Halloween episodes. I think The Simpsons kind of kicked a lot of that off, where I was like, oh, I gotta watch Treehouse of Horror.
Right.
Like they're in there. Like Roseanne had episodes, like really famous Halloween episodes.
Modern Family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like when it's a Halloween episode where you can tell it's out of continuity because some really strange and weird stuff happens, but then the next one they just kind of come back like nothing happened right before that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the Family Matters episode with the puppet Urkel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. To keep on moving, I want to talk about possession films, and I think this is my. Although I guess as I get older, I do like seeing them less and less. But this is a movie that I really enjoy. I think Scott Derrickson is one of my favorite horror directors. So The Exorcism of Emily Rose is probably my favorite possession movie from 2005 as well. So like in that sweet spot of me like growing as a
That one
teenager.
I approve.
Yeah, all right, great. Yeah, the scene in the barn. Oh my God, Jennifer Carpenter just giving it everything she has. So yeah, I love that. And Scott, that's why I was so excited when they picked Scott Derrickson to do Doctor Strange, because I was like, oh hell yeah, this dude gets it. So
And it was pretty. Well, I guess the first one isn't super terrifying. I'm thinking of the second one.
No, I mean Raimi the same, right? Like I would have been happy with either director, but yeah, they each have their own little style. But I remember I went to watch this twice in the theater, once with some friends, and then my cousin wanted to go watch it, but she didn't want to go by herself. So I was like, "Oh, I'll go with you." I enjoyed it the first time, and just going back and seeing everything play out again is like, oh man, movie solid, holds up, 2 stars. I mean 5 stars. So all right, Clay, let's go back to your stuff.
It's not necessarily a Halloween film, but it is a post-apocalyptic film. I absolutely love Omega Man with Charlton Heston, because I love I Am Legend, and all the remakes except the Will Smith one are great. I mean, like the original movie, there's an original I Am Legend with Vincent Price that's great. That's probably the closest to the book.
It's called Last Man on Earth, right?
Last Man on Earth, and I don't believe there's a copyright to it, so it's probably free on YouTube. Or something.
There, yeah.
Yeah, but Omega Man is weird because it's like he's the last man on Earth, but then there's some other people he meets. Like it's always like like they in the book he is the last man on Earth.
Yeah,
and I love that darkness to it. Plus, Omega Man inspired Joel to create Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's like one of the elements. When at the beginning of the film, when Heston's sitting in the theater watching Woodstock and just laughing and stuffing, that idea with what's the Bruce Dern movie in space where he's protecting the guards and stuff. Those two movies merged together is essentially what Mystery Science Theater became. Silent Running and Omega Man are Mystery Science Theater 3000, but Omega Man is my favorite.
Yeah, nice.
But that's it.
I mean, look, I'm a Will Smith fan, so that's all I'm gonna say. I don't mind his version. Although I do
give us your review of After Earth. Then what's his?
Well, I like Will Smith. I just don't. His kid, unfortunately, does not have the charisma from his father.
Where's your Wild Wild West poster?
It's right behind. I had to take it down. Because I had to put up the absolute Batman.
Dude, I can't believe you got that absolute Batman poster up so quick. I saw that one of your videos. I was like, awesome.
Yeah, my shop came through. Shout out Sanctuary Books and Games. I told them, and they're like, I don't know if we're gonna get one. And then I was like, all right, well, if you do, hit me up. I will say about Wild Wild West, one of the latest episodes of Abbott Elementary, because the school's in Philly.
Oh yes,
they did. Like the PTA meeting devolves into them doing the Wild Wild West dance from the end of the movie. It is so hilarious. And I was like, I love it.
I nearly
fell off my chair
because especially because the opening bit is it devolves into the way it always devolves. So the implication is every PTA meeting ends with them dancing the Wild Wild West dance. It was so good.
It's so good. It's a great. I love that show. It's a great cold open.
I do too. It's a great. And so we've known episode 9 is going to be the Sunny crossover. They just announced there's going to be another episode of Sunny where the Abbott people come to the bar.
Oh, I might.
So I am super hyped for both of these.
Yeah. Yep. And it's on. I think it's on Disney Plus now, like right away, almost like next day, or Hulu
Yeah,
or
wow.
whatever.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not watching Abbott, go check it out. All right. With that, Josh, what else you got?
Yeah. So again, keeping with kind of psychological horror, I am a huge fan of 2002's The Ring. Actually, Criterion Channel just added the original Japanese one, so I plan to watch that soon.
Ringu.
Yeah, but the thing I love about The Ring is how I first saw it. I don't know if I've told this story before, but I was down in San Antonio with my brother meeting my nephew for the first time. And again, it was his birthday, so this is around May. All right, I just want to stress the time of the year. And an ice storm came in. And so my brother and I are furiously trying to like get all the way back to Dallas because I had to work the next day. We got iced in north of Austin. And so we thankfully found a hotel room. And we're in this hotel room. And my brother's a big movie guy. So we're just like trying to find something on the TV. And he's like, "Oh, dude, have you seen The Ring?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, you got to watch this." So we start watching The Ring. Literally 10 minutes in, the fucker goes to sleep. And I'm in a dark hotel room alone with that like quiet ice sound outside watching the fucking Ring. I was scared out of my mind.
The world's closing in as you're watching.
Yeah.
So
That feels
dark.
like the way to watch The Ring, though. I
It
think.
kind of is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The-
Such a great movie, fantastic performances. I am a sucker for that kind of setup, which is find mysterious videotape, book, whatever, and it leads you down this like dark, horrific rabbit hole. Like I am always, that will always pull me in every time. So
I don't know if it was the first time they had adapted a movie from Japan, but it was like the one that really hit with audiences.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene at the beginning where they discover the girl in the closet, that image of her face is seared into my mind because I was at the theater. Everyone just like that was a big jump scare. So yeah.
And I will give a shout out. Like I was such a big fan of that movie that when Vertical, the publisher, translated the original novel trilogy, I read the first two. I never read the third one, but my wife read all three, and she loved the first two, hated the third book, like with a passion, like the point where when I went to the shelf to pull it out and start reading, she's like, "Don't read that. It sucks." And I'm like, all right, you know. But I will say there is a lot of, in the first book in particular, the main character is a guy. He's a doctor. There is a lot of misogyny. It is not an easy read, particularly from the 21st century perspective. So just bear that in mind.
Okay. Well, I mean, misogyny never stopped Stephen King books from selling. So
very true.
I mean, Gerald's Game.
All right. Before we go down this misogyny rabbit hole, Jeff, hit us with your next pick.
My next pick. First off, I'd like to say every time I think about The Ring, I think of Scary Movie and what's her name, just like beating the hell out of like somebody's crawling out of your TV. Like it's just the best scene. That is the best scene.
Do you then also think of Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss recreating that moment in one of their matches?
That is so funny when they did that.
Oh, so good.
Also, Clay, I want you noodling on this in the back of your head. What would be the most egregious remake that Danny could pick for a horror movie, in your opinion? I have mine. So we can, maybe this could be for Josh as well. What would be the most egregious?
No, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. I'm just still hurting from that.
I didn't say I like them. I like both movies though. I like the original one too.
I'm hoping his number one pick is the remake of Psycho, the shot for shot remake of Psycho.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
The Gus Van Sant.
That's too early 90s for me, or that's too 90s for me. I was not there yet.
Oh,
My number 3, something that I watch every year for Halloween, is Michael Jackson's Thriller video.
yes.
It is classic. For a long time, the most expensive music video ever produced ever. It might still be. I don't know. But
That's how we should end every podcast, is doing the Thriller dance.
Yeah. I remember that thing had such hype when it came out. Like MTV, was like, oh, it's coming out in a few days. Thriller, you got everybody. If you get MTV, because this is going to debut, and it was a huge thing. But it holds up. The song holds up. The video holds up. It's still kind of scary. Love it.
Right. Michael Jackson never did anything wrong. So.
Look, I have, to your question, I have a remake of Thriller I prefer over Thriller, and it is of course 30 Rock's Werewolf Bar Mitzvah. I think it's better in every way.
Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. That's the best line.
No.
Show.
I have nothing to add. That was a perfect conversation there. All right. Did you drop a link for Werewolf Bar Mitzvah? Maybe at the end of the show. Maybe we'll go out with Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, so that we don't get kicked off the airwaves. God, airwaves. People are like, "What is he talking about?" That's not how they work. See, I'm in a good middle place. All right, next is another remake. Actually, I have never seen the original one, but this movie has Timothy Olyphant in it, so like, I was in initially. It is The Crazies from 2010.
You know what? It's a remake, but I give it thumbs up. It's got a good cast that carries it and makes it work.
Yeah. I just really like it. Let's see. Session. I don't know. This comment might be from a little while. Oh no, it's just okay. Session 9 will Macy for Call the Journal.
Oh, the journal type. Yeah. Okay.
Session 9 is really good.
I'm gonna add that to my list. Hang on.
Thanks, Mike.
Go on. Sorry.
The movie escalates. Like, you get 5 minutes of like this really nice small town having a good time, and then shit goes down immediately. Like there's no stopping in that one. Like, people start getting sick, people start dying. Like these infected people coming back to life. The military shows up and closes out the town. Like, it just escalates very quickly.
Danielle Panabaker from The Flash is in it. It's like one of her early horror films.
I got a chance to meet her like maybe a couple years ago at the Fan Expo, and I mentioned to her that her scene of her dying in the car wash was super gnarly, and she's like, "Yeah, that was a pain to shoot because like anytime water's involved in a scene, and then she had to be hanging there from the and that's like a." It's not like you know how when you watch that Final Destination movie where all the you're behind that big truck and like you never want to drive behind a big truck after that. Like, every time I go into a car wash, like, I know I'm not gonna get sucked out of the car wash because like I'm inside my car, but like a small part of my brain is like, fuck, what is this at the time that something happens? And I do get. That's why I like going to the touch-free car washes as opposed to the ones with all the tentacles.
Gotcha.
What HP Lovecraft drive-through are you going through? All the tentacles.
Yeah, right.
It's called Cthulhu's Bubbles.
Yeah.
Business idea.
You know,
right. Business idea
that you don't pay any money. You just like sacrifice it, someone to get your car washed.
Business idea. Scary car wash. All right. Clay, let's go on to your next thing.
This is one I kind of compare to Josh's experience. I remember seeing this for the first time because as a kid, Phantasm scared the fuck out. There was like two horror movies I wouldn't watch as a kid, and it was Phantasm and Motel Hell. And I watched Phantasm for the first time as an adult at the Alamo Draft House with the entire cast. Oh, they had a showing with the live cast doing commentary, and this was when Angus Scrimm, the tall man, who's the bad guy, he was still alive. And so he was there, and it was fantastic. The fans I was around were like amazing because they were so into it. When I was like, well, this is my first time watching, they were like, just so excited for me. So it was the fan base, it was the atmosphere, and the movie itself is just crazy because it's just about, if I can explain it, it's about death, but it's about friendship. It's about death again and more death. But it's just these guys who are on the run from a guy who is the head of the mausoleum, and he's also taking people and turning them into energy and or dwarves.
So until you said that last part, when you just said it's a movie about death, friendship, death, and more death, I'm like, that's just the plot of My Girl. I don't really.
Well, I'd love to see the tall man show up in that. I mean, but as the Phantasm series goes along, it gets even weirder. That's the best part of it. Is like by the time you get to 5, you're like not sure if this entire series was taking place in a guy's mind because of his because he was getting older and his mental aptitude, or if it's a real place that he goes to experience all this action and be with his friends again. So it's like anytime you watch it, you can kind of interpret different ways, but I definitely recommend some sort of alcohol or weed to help bring forth those ideas in your head.
A buffer.
A buffer.
All right. Cool. Josh,
Also, the tall man can't see without his glasses. He can't see without his glasses.
Josh, what else you got?
Let me see here. I feel like I should save one because I just watched it for our previously on. So I'll just say, and this is probably a divisive choice. Army of Darkness. I recognize though it is not like the true horror film here. You could probably go with Evil Dead 2, but it's the first one of that series I saw. I saw them all backwards. And I love Army of Darkness because it does this crazy thing where it's like, yes, the previous, and I'll just say film, because of course Evil Dead 2 is basically like a remake of Evil Dead.
Wow,
It takes the horror of Evil Dead 2, but then it wraps it in this time travel fantasy shtick. And I just love that mashup. So yeah. Army of Darkness, again, I think it's a great jumping in point, actually, because in like the first 5 minutes, he synopsizes the previous movie. You don't even really need to see it. So,
best Bruce Campbell movie is Army of Darkness?
No, sorry. It's Bubba Hotep.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Bubba Hotep. Army of Darkness is a close second, but
I mean, this is my boomstick.
I know.
Shop
so
smart,
good.
shop smart. I mean, like all the quotables, hail to the king, baby. Like there's just so much great Bruce in that. But yeah, Bubba Hotep, another Joe Lansdale story.
Yep, it is. It is. Yeah. I love him and Bubba Hotep. He's so good. So anyway, yep.
All right.
Army of Darkness.
Jeff, I think for your next thing, I can play that if you want.
Yeah, if you would like to pull that up, that would be great. I dropped a link in the Discord. I like to watch this commercial every Halloween because this is my favorite Halloween commercial of all time. It's probably scarier than every movie ever made.
Hello, Mrs. Jensen. You don't have any Snickers in your shopping cart. The neighborhood kids love Snickers on Halloween. Let me help you. Oh, I'm only helping. Snickers.
This Halloween, nothing satisfies like Snickers.
I have never seen that. That's amazing.
Oh, I love that commercial. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's incredible.
Pretty good.
How do they not play that commercial every year the same way they play like the Kiss bells and whatever?
Yeah.
That was incredible. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I had seen that either.
The commercial is timeless.
yeah,
Great.
that's great.
And that is like one of the honestly, this year was the first year I was like, why have I not been that for Halloween ever?
Right? Yeah,
Because
true.
that is one of the
Oh,
scariest
that's
things
good.
I've ever seen. Like, can you imagine walking up on somebody that looks like that?
Wait,
Well, you
so
need to find a friend
if you
to get on
were to make that costume, would you have the kid's head around crotch level?
I
Like,
would
or would
probably
you just
put
leave
like a
that
little
out?
kid's like face in my belly that I could just like,
Just pop out.
just pop out. Yeah.
Oh boy, and that's how Jeff gets canceled.
Anything for the craft.
No, please.
We're gonna give Jeff the bees on that one.
Now there's a remake that's not as good as the original. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
The original
God.
does have Nicolas Cage.
But I
The
feel like that
Wicker Man
Snickers
sequel is
commercial
shit.
is like a distillation of every single A24 film that has ever come out. So
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's good.
I definitely could see that. Maybe the commercial will hit HBO Max soon. I do love that we watched it in glorious 360p because it's an old commercial. So like, where's a 4K restoration of that?
Yeah, right. Come on,
It's still
Criterion.
somehow
Get your
kind of
shit together.
it fits the vibe of the commercial still though.
I'm surprised they haven't started upscaling old commercials like the popular ones, because now it's all done with like AI and stuff. Like, so like, I don't know,
Yeah.
somebody as a hobbyist, I don't know. Maybe there is a YouTube channel where they just upscale all these old commercials. Let us know in the chat if you run that channel yourself or if you know about it. We could probably do a whole show about old commercials.
I definitely could.
But you can always tell because every figure after that processing, every figure in an old commercial is suddenly Selena Gomez. It's very weird. Like just every human gets replaced with her. So
she's popular.
Yeah,
Doing it
totally.
on still running that podcast. They refuse to move out of that building, even though there's so many murders in it.
Listen, I'm Team Selena all the way over what's her name Bieber, over Hailey Bieber. No, I'm Team Selena.
By the way, if nobody here is watching the current season of Only Murders in the Building, it is, and this is a high bar, it is the best season so far. It is fucking incredible. It is so good. Wow. And there hasn't been a bad season. So
high praise from Josh that watches very little.
That's true. That is true.
Okay. Let me do my last one here. And obviously there's more stuff, but man, this is like, to me, probably something I love watching all the time. And I'm going to get a lot of shit for it because probably the original's better. It's Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 remake, the Zack Snyder.
No, that's acceptable because it's a James Gunn script. It's probably the best Zack Snyder film ever made.
I mean, I wouldn't agree with that, but a lot of people would.
Yeah, it's got great elements in it. I love the fact that Phil from Modern Family in it, and he's playing completely against type.
Really, I didn't know that. That's
right before he got on Modern Family, because when Modern Family hit, I was like, oh, that's the guy from. And he plays like the scummy asshole in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I mean, and there's top-notch actors in it. I mean, you got Sarah Polley,
Ving Rhames,
Mekhi Phifer,
the guy that
Richard Kelly.
Yeah,
I mean, Richard Kelly is so wild because I went from watching him as the security guard in this to House of Cards.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so it's like, wow, this guy's fucking good.
Because he had the mustache and he had the dark hair and a hat, so like he was very different than his like Washington look. But yeah, I really liked the movie. It was the first time I ever saw fast moving zombies. I don't know if that was the first time they were around. I don't know. What was it this first or 28 days later, right?
It's 28 days later that kind of started
or 28 days later.
Yeah.
But it looks great. I love the sequence of them building those the buses to get out of town. And then the cover of Down with the Sickness, the ballroom cover of Down with the Sickness. Good. And then the end is like, oh, they're fucked either way. So like, yeah. Which I don't know. I don't remember how the original ends. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't even know if they address like what happens to them afterwards. So
you should revisit it. It's well worth it.
probably so. What I am gonna revisit, or not revisit, visit for the first time that Josh brought up is The Haunting on Hill House. I've never seen it, but I have seen some of the Flanagan stuff.
So good, so
Like,
good.
I love Doctor Sleep. I love the Fall of the House of Usher, which is another Netflix series that he did.
Yep.
So, all right, there you go. That's
Yeah,
all that's my Halloween stuff.
And my wife would also throw in there. She's still mad I haven't watched it yet, but Flanagan's Midnight Mass is also really good.
I started watching it and then I stopped for some reason, and I need to go back and finish it. But it's pretty good. So, all right, Clay, hit us with your last thing, and feel free to throw in a few little sprinklings of other stuff.
Okay. This is one of my favorite. This is goofy horror at its best. It's a movie called The Mutilator, but it's also known as Fall Break, which is the theme song of the movie. And I completely recommend this for everyone because it's just the tone of it is so off. That's the best part, is like you start with a bunch of characters who are obviously not kids. And that's the way every 80s movie is like, well, there are these kids at college. These people look 30. Right. And the theme song is kind of a catchy, like just a pop little number. And so it like doesn't even kind of set the theme. They go to this beach house that his dad has said, hey, can you go like close up the beach house? And so they're like, hey, let's just go party at the beach house while they're slowly picked off. And as adults, they like do really bad jokes, and they play hide and go seek in the house, which is really weird. But when you find out who the killer is at the end, you're just like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And that's why I love it. Everything about it is kind of dumb. I think there's some of the actors, I think 3 of the actors like never went on to make another movie after this. But it is just so weird. It does have a great kill. That's the one huge payoff for The Mutilator is he has one kill that you're just like, holy shit, that's awesome. And it takes you into a horror movie, but then they bring you out because, you know, they're all acting really goofy and weird because that was kind of the tone the director set. But highly recommend if you've never seen it. It's a good bad film.
Nice.
But all right. I was trying to think of other great good bad films that are in that genre, like Chopping Mall. If you haven't seen Chopping Mall, that's another great movie because nothing gets chopped. It's about robots who guard the mall, who go haywire and start killing these kids who are hanging out in the mall. Or Death Spa, the spa that's controlled by a computer.
Chopping Mall. Oh, sorry, Clay. Chopping Mall makes me suspect of any furniture store inside of a mall because teenagers will have sex overnight in that store.
Exactly. But and then that mall is also known for having a ton of other movies filmed there, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and it was just like one of the malls that was used in a lot of 80s movies. And so they would use it at night and then have to clean it up for everything in the morning. So it's also a time machine to go through and look at all these old stores that existed in malls, like bookstores. Orange Julius.
Jesus Christ, do I miss like B. Dalton and Walden Books in a bookstore or in a mall?
Oh,
those are the best. Walk out with just a pile of paperbacks.
Yeah. I would even drop Slither as I mean, it's not good bad, but it's silly fun. I mean, it's a James Gunn movie of really great horror, but then they're just the silly weird things that happen in it that are just a James Gunn signature to it, and it ends on a song that I absolutely love. It's so good.
Nice. All right, Josh. Why don't you give us your last thing?
Yeah, I'm actually going to say my last thing for previously on, but I will. This is fairly obvious, but I will say that in keeping with goofy fun that slowly drives you insane, watch Manos: The Hands of Fate, but absolutely make sure you watch the MST3K version, not just it on its own. You need the ongoing palate cleanser that is Joel and the Bots. But it is the one episode that halfway through I think it's Crow just goes, I can't take it anymore. Like the bots lose it. Like it broke them. It just broke them because it's such a bad movie. But yeah, definitely watch it.
It is the best Mystery Science Theater
100%.
of all time.
Yeah,
and
I mean, a close second is Mitchell, but I will say it is the best. So.
Mitchell, Pod People, and Manos.
Yep.
That right there are the top 3.
100%. I'm with you. Yeah.
Did you know that Manos is a Texas-made film?
I feel like I did know that, but where in Texas?
I think it's El Paso. Manos was made on a bet. A guy bet a guy that he couldn't make a movie, and Manos is that movie.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, there you go then.
Come back from the dead.
No, he had to step away. So,
okay.
What's your last one there?
He's the okay. So in the tradition of Halloween, everybody should watch every Halloween. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I know it's supposed to be a horror list, but
no, I'm with you.
It's a classic. You got to wait in the pumpkin patch for The Great Pumpkin. It's fantastic. I love Charlie Brown's cut out all the eye holes in his ghost costume because he can't get it right. It's a perfect like little bow. Yeah, he gets the rocks. Yeah, he keeps getting rocks.
I still say that. I think the thing I also love about The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown is after having already done a Christmas episode that is equally beloved, they basically just took the core plot of Is Santa Real? And then just mashed it into a Halloween episode, which is brilliant. I mean, it's really, really smart.
Would you wait for or would you go get candy, or wait for The Great Pumpkin? Is really what it comes down to. And would you be with your friend who really believes?
Right. Yeah. Who do you support? Right. So.
And then there's a whole subplot of Snoopy as the World War I flying. He's trying to take down.
That's
the
true.
I forgot that was in that one. All right. Yeah. I can't remember where that showed up for the first time. So.
Let me ask, since Daniel's away, because my buddy Mike is on there in the chat, and he was asking me for kid movies for Halloween. He was like, what do you think is a good, safe kid movies? Now, he finally agreed, and they watched Gremlins last night. And I go, well, that's real fun until you get to the death speech from Phoebe Cates, and then you're going to have to explain that one to the kids.
If I recall correctly, the studio wanted them to take out, and Joe Dante put his foot down and said no. Right? Yeah, we have to have this. I would add Monster Squad on there, and I think Hocus Pocus, yeah. And I would say, depending on the age of the kids, if they're teen or tween, you could probably get away with Army of Darkness. I mean, it's really. Yeah, I mean it's just scary. Fun. What?
Return to Oz is terrifying.
Oh Jesus! I saw that in the theater and had fucking nightmares. Nightmares. That movie is so. Let's open on Dorothy in a psychiatric ward getting electroshock therapy. That'll make a good kids movie.
All the headless heads just looking at her as she's walking down the hall.
I need to watch that again. Actually, they're good.
Right, cool.
Yeah,
Witches is actually really scary too. Witches with what's her name?
When they take off their
we just watched that for the first time, and it was not as good as I was expecting. Actually,
well, if you were a mouse, you'd be pretty scared.
Yeah, true.
See, y'all are going for the kid movies. I was going, well, Maximum Overdrive is some light horror, It's like you don't see a lot of death, I tried to go.
The really horrific thing about Maximum Overdrive is Stephen King on cocaine the whole time. I mean, that's
this is his version, and it's fully coke loaded.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that Jeff, did you talk about your? Sorry, I had to step away for a second. Okay, good. I imagine that's what led to this chat, The Great Pumpkin. All All right, there's a whole bunch more stuff, especially if you look at Clay's list. Yeah, let's move on to. We also have a lot of stuff to talk about in our previously on segment, but let us know about your favorite Halloween treats. Maybe I'll release this part as a video.
What's your favorite Halloween candy, real quick?
Uh,
And real quick for the olds, and maybe Danny, if you know what I'm talking about. Did you guys have Ben Cooper costumes growing up?
Yes. Yeah,
What are
Ben Cooper with the plastic mask.
the
with
plastic
little-
mask. Yeah. And you keep getting your from the Vinger brothers. I keep getting my tongue stuck in the slit. He's wearing the Batman mask. Yeah, absolutely had. I had at least 2 or 3 Ben Cooper costumes at some point.
Yeah.
he still has them. He still wears them around.
I
now.
do.
Well, he could sell them on eBay for like hundreds of dollars, maybe. If you still
Oh,
have
bet.
I'll be right back. No, I'm kidding.
them.
This begins the auction part of the show.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, everyone that had those also had the extra rubber band to have to reattach it to the mask because that rubber band would just snap as soon as you put it on.
Exactly. Yeah, that thin little yeah.
It was the test rubber band.
But you could always take the razor blades out of the apples and cut the bigger hole in the people that were like.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. My favorite Halloween candy, the mini Butterfingers. I love Butterfingers, and I don't like peanut butter, which is weird. But I guess when you add a bunch of sugar to it, I don't mind it.
I like a good Snickers because of that commercial.
I'm a candy corn. I like candy corn. I know people hate it, but I like that and the pumpkins.
No,
they only come around in the fall. So
my wife also likes candy corn. I'm a weird guy. I love candy everyone else hates, like especially chalky candy. So I like bottle cap.
I like bottle caps.
All right.
I was really expecting when you're like, I like it when they give me toothbrushes.
I like
those at one house that would give you like the little.
Yeah, right.
I like a good popcorn ball.
What is the worst thing you could get? Sorry, Danny. I know I'm hijacking the show with like Halloween talk, but so what was the worst thing that you could get in a bag?
Laffy Taffy.
Oh, I love Laffy Taffy.
I hate Laffy Taffy. It's neither funny nor is it taffy. So
I found these at the dollar store the other day, and they're individually wrapped like chewy peanut butter. And I don't know what they're called, but it's like I always just remember they were the last candy in the bowl every time we bought like a bag, but it was like a chewy peanut butter type thing that was individually wrapped. I don't even know what it's called. That's the worst. Oh, Henry. No, those were hard. Those were like a hard candy.
Oh, okay. I hate Tootsie Rolls. They are.
I was about to say Tootsie Rolls. Yeah, I don't like those either.
They're like
Tootsie Rolls.
Rock solid every time. You have to work it in your mouth for like 20 minutes before you can start enjoying a Tootsie Roll.
And we are definitely not going to clip out that one comment that you just said and just leave that on its own.
Working real good. All right. Jeff, satisfied? Have a Snickers.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Quick like a whip. All right. Now let's get into what we've been doing and stuff. So last week we didn't have a show because by various reasons, but I was over at Dallas Fan Festival, as you might have seen. I've dropped a few videos of like panel clips and stuff. I'm still working on the big vlog video. And there's also an interview with a D&D group locally called what are they called? Creeping Critters, I think, which is like a big DFW D&D group. So we'll talk about that. But I also got to meet a bunch of the Superman that were there, not Dean Cain.
Good.
I got to meet also Betsy Tulloch, who's Lois Lane on the Superman and Lois, and I really wanted to go see them because this is like, it feels like this is the farewell to the CW universe, right? Superman and Lois is in their last season, and that's kind of like the last of the shows that spun out of that, even though that one's kind of separate on its own little universe.
Yeah, it just got to cross over.
Yeah, so stay tuned. I will say the Superman were really nice, and Tyler Hoechlin takes a hell of a selfie. Like, he just has it down to a science. I was like, how do I look so good in this one, especially next to this man? I did see Kyle there on Sunday when I was leaving.
Oh,
Kyle, he's alive.
Yeah, he was there.
he
He was
exists?
waiting for somebody to go in to the convention.
Oh, that's funny.
And I shout out to the fan festival because they allowed me to go in as press as well. Even though I already had my ticket,
Nice.
I got to go in as press. So hopefully we can work something out for the summer convention. So we'll figure that out. Okay.
That'd be awesome.
I did go to the movies a lot in the past few weeks, but at first I want to give a quick shout out to. I was watching cable TV because I love watching movies on cable. Robin Hood Men in Tights was on, and I was like, it was just starting. I think that's my favorite Mel Brooks film. It's so funny. I love it. I love Carrie Ewells is perfect as Robin Hood. Even he himself says so, right? Because because he's the only Robin Hood that can actually do an English accent. It's great. And I think for the most part, there's a few jokes that probably don't land anymore, or maybe they're not politically correct anymore. But for the most part, it relies on the real funny stuff as opposed to like punching down. So I think that's something that Mel Brooks was pretty good at. Just trying to make sure that everybody was in on the joke, as opposed to making fun of other people. So yeah, I really love that. I love the fight in the bridge with Little John when they first meet.
Yes.
And then he saves them from drowning. After I watch that movie, I always want to go back and rewatch Prince of Thieves because obviously it's a spoof of that.
Yeah.
Only to see like everything they're spoofing, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Weirdly, I love that movie, Prince of Thieves. I love Prince of Thieves. It is
Really?
so cheesy.
So
it is so bad. It is.
That's interesting.
I love that he's just Midwestern.
Midwestern Robin Hood.
Yeah, Midwestern Robin Hood. And if you listen, you can hear him attempt an English accent every now and again.
Right.
But it's just like on just random, like he gives it like 30% in random words. Like it's not even for a full line. It's just like.
I've always had a theory that like the first 3 days of filming, he tried the accent and then got some notes from the director, like or maybe even who plays the bad guy? Shit, I'm just blanking his name. Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman
probably walked up and said, "Don't do the accent," right? And then, of course, as we edit the film, you get these little snippets of him trying it. So
listen here, mate. Don't try it.
Yeah.
I want Jeff's blurb on the box that says Kevin Costner gives 30% in this film.
It's giving 30% English accent.
It's giving 30% English accent.
All right.
And Christian Slater, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that film.
Yeah.
That film's perfect.
I might check it out. I like the story of Robin Hood. I think what's his name had one too. Gladiator did one that was like a prequel to Robin Hood, like before he got a bow and arrow, right? Because the big ending of it was like
iconic thing about Robin Hood.
Yeah. How do we take that? Which is weird because in the posters he has a bow and arrow, but throughout the whole film he's wielding a sword. Until the end, where he has to use a bow and arrow for something, whatever he did.
Makes no sense.
But I did watch 3 films. The last one I watched Saturday Night. That I think after we, I don't know, whatever it came out.
Saturday Night is so good.
Saturday Night, I liked it. I had a good time. I think everyone does a really good job with it. Specifically, the actor who plays both Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson.
Wow.
Cousin Greg from Succession. I forget his name. Nicholas Braun, maybe. I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
He's really good. But the whole film is great. I really felt like these people, at least they probably grew up, most of them watching Saturday Night, right? All these actors, specifically if they wanted to go into the business. So I recommend that whenever. I'm sure it'll be on streaming soon somewhere because I don't think this is something it's not something that was going to stay in the theater for a long time.
But we need movies like this in the theater so that there's a variety. So, I'm glad that it didn't go straight to video.
yeah.
It does feel like a
streaming.
cool acting exercise. Watching like that movie does kind of feel like you're watching people doing acting exercises a lot, in the best way possible.
How's the Riddler as Chevy Chase? Because just in the trailer he looks amazing.
Perfect. He's amazing.
Really awesome.
Great.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
that whole moment with Uncle Milty, my goodness, how did
See, I haven't seen it yet, so it's like I just can't wait till the
I
streaming
assume that person has passed away.
Oh,
because
Burl?
otherwise,
Burl.
Yeah.
yeah, because otherwise, okay. Another thing I saw the other two films I saw in the theater yesterday and the day before were like on opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'll start with The Conclave. This is the movie with Ray Fiennes, John Lithgow, what's her name? Isabella.
Oh, I wanted to see this. Yeah.
No, this
It
movie, I think they should rename it Catholic shit.
Yeah,
Like, that's just what it seems like.
Oh.
All I'm gonna say, it's a very well movie, and I'll do a full review for the channel for all these three films. But it's a very well made film. I didn't know it was based on a book, so I didn't know like what was going on. But I think the attention to detail is great. But it's a lot funnier than I thought it was gonna be. But like in a weird way, it's got the best cinematic use of a vape in history. I will just say that much.
Wow.
I'm trying to find.
Yeah, me. Like, words I
when
never
you're-
expected to come out of a review of The Conclave.
If you watch it, I think there's a really interesting juxtaposition of like the cardinals and the Catholic Church with using technology because it's a contemporary movie, so that's very interesting. Like seeing them like poke around on their phones or like it's really interesting.
Do,
and then
do
of
they
course,
all go? Do they all go on Grinder together?
Oh my god!
I don't want to spoil the movie.
Oh, that's the ending. They accidentally all meet up at the same place.
Yeah. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
They all out each other.
Oh no! I will say very impressively. I don't know how much of the other languages these actors learn or how much they already knew, but like they speak obviously English, Italian,
Latin.
I think French. There's a lot of Italian and Latin, of course. There's some French, and there's a whole plethora of Spanish. So there's a whole. Just knowing that if you're a cardinal, you probably have to learn like at least 2 or 3 languages, like to get to that status. That's pretty
interesting. Huh.
So yeah, it's very well put movie. But I'll do a full review of it. Now on the other side of the spectrum, and I'm sad that Jeff's not here for this. I watched Venom: The Last Dance.
I'm curious to hear your review. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I'll there's just that.
I feel like you're the core audience for these.
I really am. I'll do a full review for the channel, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It's very entertaining. And everything that's Venom Brock, like that relationship, it's great. The problem is that there's another story going on the side that sometimes is not as great. But the last third of the movie just really works. Like once everything kind of comes together, it's got great effects. I think the symbiotes, they like really nail down the look of it throughout the film. But I love it. I mean, Tom Hardy, just if you could tell that he was having a lot of fun with this. And then you also have like the whole Sony like, we're not done with this, even if Tom Hardy's done, we're not done with it. We'll see after Craven if they are really truly not done with this stuff. We're trying to put out their own movies. I'm also very excited for Craven.
I'm really curious to see what kind of box office and Rotten Tomatoes numbers Craven gets, because I feel like this may be the death of Sony's Marvel movies.
Yeah,
but it's so funny though, because I was reading an article the other day, and their point was all of Sony's Spider-Man villain movies have this weird existence where if you look at the critic scores versus the audience scores, it is night and day. Every one of them has critic scores of like 13, maybe 20, 21%, and audience scores. I think the lowest was like 60. Like it just
probably.
like these are the types of, I think, popcorn movies that critics hate and audience are like, this is good fun, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this one's at 38 on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, but it's at like 78 with the audience, which is closer to where I am.
Yeah.
I'm probably like about a 3 stars on this, maybe 3.5. I think it's better than the second one because they went back to being rated R, and that was a big thing that was missing.
Okay.
So,
so Daniel, like if there were to redo Venom in the Marvel universe, and we still had Tom Hardy, because I feel like he's the best person to portray Venom. Who would you want directing and writing? Like, who would be your perfect team? Because obviously Sony can't kind of put it together, but it would be kind of, I mean, you know, I'm pulling from DC, but I would kind of love to see Matt Reeves take a stab at a Venom trilogy.
Man, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I think Scott Derrickson could do something cool. I like more of a body horror type of Venom movie. I think that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that just because I thought of it, and I was like, okay, I think that would work.
I have a proposal because I feel like there was too much studio interference the first time. Let's give Sam Raimi another shot at it, right? Like, you know, because I mean, I feel like despite the horrible miscasting of Topher Grace, I feel like there was so much studio interference in that third Spider-Man movie. I would love to see it happen again. And he was doing the classic story, which is like Peter gets the symbiote, right?
Yeah.
And it slowly corrupts him, and he has to get rid of it, and then it seeks out this new host.
Yeah, I think the way that he was corrupted is kind of more of a campy, fun thing that Sam Raimi was doing, as opposed to like a dark, gritty thing, right? Yeah, right. I mean, I think we kind of love that now, but
I still that is the scene. Every time I've tried to watch that movie, that is the scene where I nope out every fucking time. Him kicking the chair and doing the dance. I'm like, fuck it, I'm out. I can't do this.
Well, I love it. Give me more of that. Which is funny because like Tobey Maguire is probably closer to that version of Peter in real life as a person, right?
Right.
Now, I know we joke about Topher Grace playing Venom, but I would love to have him redeem himself because it would be great to see a Secret Wars where we had two Venoms, a Tom Hardy and a Topher Grace show up.
Okay.
And I would love to see that dynamic.
Yeah. All right, God, you've almost got me there. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is that I do think this one's better than the second one. I think I like it more. I'll have to go back and rewatch it, and I won't spoil who it is, but I was glad to see getting to the credits that I've actually met the person that is Null in person, which I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So I'll just say that much. I'll leave it up to you guys. And this will probably be in streaming so soon. It's crazy.
So soon.
I mean, Joker's coming out at the end of the month already. Yeah. All right. So like, these movies don't stay in theaters very long anymore. Even the good ones, like the Wild Robot and Transformers one, both of them hit the VOD like earlier this month already. So
this has been a bad year for comic book movies.
Do you think there's some kind of numbers that they have that they're like, if we pull them at this point, like they're not going to make any more money, so we might as well put them on streaming.
I'm sure they have a formula.
Or is
it the theaters?
That's what I was wondering. Like, are they just getting data back from the theaters? Like, we're only getting X number of people attending these movies, so we can either, if you want us to keep screening them, or maybe the theater's like, we're just not even going to screen it anymore. You know, and then that like forces their hand.
It's just weird. It's just so astounding to me that they will put things out and then it's like you've got 2 weeks to see this,
right?
And then you're done.
I think they're trying because the studios are kind of like so scared that the word's going to get out that their movie's no good, that they're just like, let's like the barrier of entry is that a lot of people don't want to go to the theater, and a lot of these new movies, paying $30 for it, if you're just watching it on your own, that's probably a bad proposition. But if you're a family or a group of friends and you pay $30 to watch a movie at home,
Yep.
like that's not as bad as going to the theater, right? You're saving probably like, I don't know, $100 in, concessions and all that anyway. So, and the hassle of, oh my God. So I don't know if you guys saw, I put out a video about movie etiquette yesterday.
I
Inspired.
haven't watched it yet.
I hadn't watched it yet, but I saw it, and yeah,
Inspired in part by my experience with Venom: The Last Dance. So, yeah, go check it out if you're watching this live or later on. Go check it out. It's like a 10-minute video of just talking about that. And if you guys have any horror stories or funny stories in theater, leave it in the comments because I want to do a follow-up video for that. So,
here I'll leave one there for you.
Thank you. All right, Clay, let me pass it off to you to do some watch stuff, and then we'll get to. As always, we'll get to Jeff, and then we'll pivot to comics. So we'll go around the horn.
I finally got to see Twisters, the Glenn Powell flick. Nobody can not prove to me that this wasn't written by AI. This is the shittiest thing I think I've ever seen. There's nothing good in it. It is so dull and uninteresting. It is mayonnaise on white bread. It is just dull as fuck with nothing going on. There's no chemistry. It's like someone took 3 board games and threw them on the floor and it's just pieces.
Excuse me, but both of those leads want to definitely fuck a tornado.
Jesus,
they don't much care about each other, but they definitely want to do it with a tornado.
It is, and I think written in the script is, and then Glenn Powell walks in and turns on the charm. Like that's pretty much it. The female lead is just like she has no emotion. She emotes nothing. For tornadoes. Yeah. The fucking dumbest thing in the whole movie is that like she works for like the weather, the emergency weather bullshit, whatever it is, and everyone else is having to tell her what's happening. Like she should be getting the shit from work, like text saying, like we got this, and she's always like, "There's a tornado coming." Like what is she, a fucking intern? Like she makes me not want to ever see anything she's ever in based on her performance in this.
Wow.
And Powell, I don't know. I didn't even care to look.
Daisy Edgar Jones or whoever her name is.
Yeah, that's who it is. And Glenn Powell, like, he comes in, he's charming, he does his bit. And I'm like, okay, well, that's your thing. That's what you're good at. But like, your Matthew McConaughey impression isn't that great. Like he's just trying to be cool Texas boy. I never felt like at any point that there was joy or happiness during this movie. Like it is devoid of entertainment.
Counterpoint, fire tornado.
Maybe the best star of the movie is the fire tornado, but Jesus Christ, like this movie it has no foundation, no heart. You don't care about the characters. They're just randos thrown in that are supposed to be like from the first movie. They didn't even tell one guy, act like Jack Black, give us that character, or act like this. Like it's just people you give no shit about.
I do love the random Paul Scheer cameo at the end.
Yeah, that was fun.
For no reason.
Because honestly, he needs to do a video. How did this get made? Because there's no reason for this movie to exist.
That's funny. I don't know if they'll do that because they never do their own films, even though they've talked about being in some films that are not very good.
Okay, hold on. Leonard Kim, I need to know. Did you enjoy this film? Because I'm gonna judge you on your answer.
Leonard Kim and myself love this film, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I just love this exchange. Makes me miss Siskel and Ebert. And Clay is clearly Ebert in this scenario. So
yeah, I think the worst review Ebert ever gave was for "I Spit on Your Grave," and he just talked about like how awful, like it's the worst movie ever made, and that's the review to go see, of my opinion, on Twisters.
It wasn't Freddy Got Fingered.
I feel Freddy Got Fingered is redeemable. I've even heard video essays talking about Freddy Got Fingered is like the comedy Dada movie of that time period where the absurdity and everything is there for a purpose.
But didn't Ebert like eviscerate it? I feel like he did.
So. Well, because Tom Green was very unlikable at the time. If you don't get Tom Green,
right.
All right. Oh, by the way, Clay, I don't know if you have to step away.
Oh, is it time?
But I mean, I don't know. You tell us. But feel free
I'll
to
step away. So after my review of Twisters,
we'll leave the audience with that. All right, Josh, let's go to you, and then we'll do Jeff, and then we'll catch up with Clay in a second. He does have a lot of comics, so he can finish his stuff.
So I always feel like I come to this like I watched so much, and then it turns out I didn't watch nearly as much as you bastards. But I have caught up on some things. Let's put it that way. I was at a conference, and I couldn't get the hotel Wi-Fi to work in a way that would let me actually do work. So I ended up just watching on my phone the Please Don't Destroy Treasure of Foggy Mountain movie. That is fucking great. Like, why did this movie not go to theaters? It was wildly enjoyable, and really, now granted, I kind of went in with low expectations because it didn't get good reviews when it came out, but I loved it. I laughed my ass off the entire time. I thought it was hilarious, and really enjoyed it. So I feel like if you want just a good 2-hour comedy, just go watch the Please Don't Destroy movie.
It's really entertaining. I agree.
And if you want that comedy that distilled down to like a 5-minute thing, watch their video with Dakota Johnson.
Yes.
Because it's so good.
I feel like came out not long after this hit Peacock. Because because they referenced that I've seen that skit, but it was really funny. All the performances.
My favorite part is the nepotism truce that they all
and then they make the one guy like stay out of it because he's not really like a nepo baby. I also, and I won't spoil anything, but I just want to say there is a celebrity appearance at the end that I laughed my fucking ass off when it happened. And then everything that occurs from that point on is just fantastic. So yeah, really good. Just if you need a good, solid comedy, go check it out. I agree with you, Leonard Kim. Every time they have a new video, I watch it. I had missed it, but just last night I watched the AI one, and I thought it was great. So anyway,
but it is really interesting watching Saturday Night Live, like as somebody in their 40s who's seen a bunch of casts rotate through, and now so like growing up, like I had no idea who like I don't know, Mike Myers was before he got on SNL and stuff. But now, like I knew who the Please Don't Destroy people were because they were famous on like Twitter before they got on. And then they just added, I can't remember the tall girl from they've added a couple of like the guy that does the Donald Trump impersonation. He was famous on Instagram before he got on SNL. So it's interesting to see how they're famous, internet famous, a little bit before they get put on SNL now.
Well, and I feel like it's an acknowledgement of and sort of like the Lonely Island era did this too, which is I think it's Lorne Michaels and the rest of like the producers recognizing humor is evolving and shifting, and so how can we incorporate that into the show without it radically disrupting the way the show works? Right, so let's just bring in the Please Don't Destroy guys, and they're just going to keep making their videos, So
really smart.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing in the Saturday Night movie because it was like we're just gonna grab all the funniest stuff around and try to put it in this one. Like That's what Jim Henson was in that first season, right? Because of the Muppets and it was a different thing. So like, I like that. I like that they're evolved. The show continues. There's a reason it's been around for so long, and it's because it's continued to kind of evolve to try to incorporate more contemporary comedy while still trying to do the skits. Also, if you haven't seen the Ariana Grande episode, God, it's so funny.
That Castrati sketch.
Oh my God!
I don't know how the fuck they got away with that, but just her expression made me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
My best friend's house.
Yes.
That was really good.
You know, and it's sad. I don't even watch it when it airs. I just watch the sketches on YouTube.
I usually end up watching on TikTok like a sketch or two. Like they'll post them there, or other people will post them there. And then the Ariana Grande, I saw a couple that were really funny, and I was like, I guess I'll just watch the whole episode because she's really good. Like she gets it. And so
yeah.
Which I mean, she was in TV before, right?
I was gonna say she's got that like Disney Channel experience.
It may be the reason I end up going to see Wicked. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not the big musical guy, but like I think both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are like really good. And I'm like, there's no way this movie's completely terrible, right?
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna take a stage musical and make it into a movie, that makes 1,000% more sense than Cats. You know, just so much more. So. All right. But I did also finally get to watch Late Night with the Devil. I had been waiting for this because, of course, I don't have Shudder. And I told you guys in chat, like, as soon as I learned it was coming out on Blu-ray, I ordered it. Yeah. And then, of course, literally the day it arrived, it's on Hulu. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, I had no idea it was going to Hulu. So, but we sat down.
Does the disc have special features?
It does. It has commentary, which I still need to listen to. So that's worth it, right? Okay. But holy shit! Again, this goes back to the whole like The Ring that I love. It's like here is basically found footage, right, showing this incident, and I loved it so much. It's such a great movie. I love kind of lo-fi. Sorry, my camera is not focusing. I love that kind of lo-fi approach. I love just is so good. It's so good. And there's these little moments where, again, I guess, I don't know, can I spoil a movie from like a year ago? Oh, people may still want to see it. I don't know. But like, I love movies where things happen split second and you're compelled to go back and rewatch and be like, did I really see that? Or did my brain insert that? Right. And this film is really, really good with that. So check it out. If you haven't seen it, Late Night with the Devil, just.
I need to watch it like in the middle of the day. I'm such a baby now with scary movies.
We watched it at night. I would say it kind of does the thing. It's until the very end. It's a very psychological kind of horror.
It's also probably easier or scarier to watch on your television than it would be in the theater. Because that's what I never.
I made that exact point as we got towards the end. It's like, I feel like this is actually designed for home viewing because there are even comments where it talks about like seeing it on a TV screen. And it makes more sense, I think, watching it sitting on your couch than being in a theater. So,
all right,
which
I'll watch
it. It'd be really cool if they put out like a Zack Snyder CRTV version where it's squared.
I like that we just call that format now a Zack Snyder thing.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever, like Robert Eggers didn't also do a movie in 4:3 that was way more successful.
Wait, which one?
The Lighthouse is shot and it's all.
Oh fuck! I still need to see that. I haven't seen it yet, so
you gotta watch it. Nosferatu is coming. God, that movie was scary too.
Look, if you had told me that in the year of our Lord 2024 there would be a Nosferatu remake that I was excited about, that's saying a lot because I love the original. The original is.
Have you seen?
It didn't even make my list. It should have. It is.
Have you seen the worst? Was it Herzog?
The
Shadow of the Vampire.
I've never seen the Herzog.
Shadow of the Vampire is real good. Yeah.
Shadow of the Vampire is great. That's actually, I even tell my students, like, the perfect double feature is the original Nosferatu and Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool. What else? Let's wait on the what we do in the shadows till Clay comes back. How about that? Then let's go to Jeff to talk about. Did you watch anything? Yeah,
I did. I saved all my scary movies for this part, not the actual Halloween scary movie part. I watched. I finally got around to watching Terrifier, which I have never seen before.
Never.
There's just so much. There's so much art to clown stuff out there. I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down and watch this thing. I didn't get it at first. I was like, this movie is real cheap. It's real dumb. But as I started watching it, I was just like, okay, well, there's no plot to this. This is just like a killer clown, straight up. That's all you need to know. Like, that's it. He shows up. There's people there. He's going to kill them. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And I really, and then once I got into it, like, it's all practical and it's all visceral effects. Like when he's cutting people in half, they go out and get like pig guts and throw them in the film, stuff like that. So then I started to appreciate it for what it was. And I sat down and enjoyed myself. I will eventually see the other ones, go back and watch the prequels or whatever, the movies that he came from.
Those are great.
Yeah, those seem more because they seem like little interstitials, kind of like stories that kind of.
But they're tied together too.
Yeah, all those old movies like that. I love that Creep Show and stuff like that. That's all great stuff. I also watched Mr. Crockett on Hulu. That is one of those. So I like that Hulu has become like the hallmark of Halloween, and that they produce all these like Halloween shows or movies that are pretty scary. Like they're all kind of like PG-13-ish. Kind of. They're all fun. They all remind me of like old 80s horror movies for kids because they're pretty scary. They can be pretty scary, but they're, whatever. Mr. Crockett is if you take The Ring and mix it with a little bit of Freddy Krueger and a little bit of like Mr. like Pee-wee's Playhouse, I would say, and throw it all in one big blender, and then you get Mr. Crockett. It is a story about a failed children's television host of his like with puppets, the children's television show that he had puppets and stuff that was sort of like Mr. Rogers. But his VHS tape makes its way around to bad kids, and then he'll crawl out of the VCR and he'll kill the bad parents, and then he'll kidnap the kids and turn them into his little demons and stuff like that. But it's great because there's puppets involved. So there are killer puppets, and it's I don't know if you've ever seen the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared videos on YouTube. Those are scary. You guys should watch those. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. But it's like, yeah, this woman is fighting these puppets off and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty great. Mr. Crockett.
Okay. All right, before we get into that, Clay, why don't you want to do the Salem's Lot stuff first, and then I'll talk about what we do in the shadows when Josh comes back.
Okay. I hate to say it, but the reboot of Salem's Lot that's out right now is as good as Twisters. It is so bad. Okay. It is. I think it's so bad.
I think it's just a fine movie, especially if you've never seen any of the Salem's Lot stuff. Like me.
Okay, well then I will give you that. But if you watch, I mean, the original was a TV movie, so all the horror was built for a PG TV audience and is executed well. The problem with this is they try to take a book that is obviously very thick with a lot of history. Because that's the way Stephen King writes, and condense it down to a 90-minute film, and it is dull. It is so boring. The interesting characters and dynamics are merged together. So where you have like a couple in the original that were like having an affair, like that part's taken out, so there's no tension between the husband and stuff. There's like, and even the chemistry between the kid and Ben Mears there's not enough screen time for them to have that chemistry. So it's just really kind of forced. The original, It's great. I mean, I love it. It's fantastic. This is just, it's a pass. And the thing that really bothered me is the fact that the guy that plays Ben Mears is going to be the guy that plays Sentry in Thunderbolts.
I like Lewis Pullman.
And he's not his dad. I'll tell you that. He does not have that charisma that his dad has, because I could care less a lot of his moves during this movie. He didn't really carry it. He has no chemistry with this girl that's in it, and she's just really in it because she's good looking. And I mean, God, like just so a lot of misses. And this is the third time this film has been remade, but it's just again, it's been condensed, and that's what wrecks it, because you take out all those elements that make a great story. It's not worth your time. I mean, seriously, if you're going to watch anything, avoid Twisters and avoid the reboot of Salem's Lot. Just like two of the worst things I've seen this week, and just empty. But
I'll say the disclaimer. I guess if you're a Gen Xer or older, because I had no problems with either one of those films.
But even the original Twister, though, man, you got to admit that had more.
I agree that the original Twister is so much better.
Yeah, but this one does. I mean, give me one good element of Twisters.
I mean, I thought the opening was really strong. Of like, oh, you think these are the people you're going to spend the movie with, and they're like, nah, this is actually all the trauma is coming from this event. I'll say Anthony Ramos.
I'll give you that.
Anthony Ramos,
that was a good opening.
Bad. Yeah, Anthony Ramos was pretty bad as I knew the whole time, like, and also it's funny. So that guy's gonna be Superman. What's his name? The other guy, the tech guy that was with Anthony Ramos. David Cornsweet. Which I was like, oh man, this guy is gonna be Superman. But in this movie, he didn't do anything. He was just like the standard like guy with the clipboard. But yes. Yeah, no, I was mainly there for like I like Glenn Powell, and I thought it was funny that Daisy Edgar Jones like didn't want to have anything to do with anyone other than the tornadoes, because in the movie both Helen Hunt and what's his name, Bill Paxton, they both love tornadoes, but you can also tell they care about each other. So I thought it was funny that in this new one, they just want to go after the tornadoes. They don't really like. They try to put them together, but like they're not. Even at the end of the movie, they leave it very ambiguously that they're not a couple afterwards.
But the fact that they try to hint at it is just kind of dull. Like that was weird. Their exchanges are very bland and just.
They should have just made it. But I do like the fact that in movies you don't just have to have somebody get together for no reason. Like exactly. They were there for the science.
Yeah. But I did watch.
The last thing. I wish Maura Tierney had been like connected to the first movie in some way. But she was just there. She was just there.
She's the best actress in the film. That I will take that back, because she in her scenes you forget. Oh, that's more. You believe that she's trying to drag you back into this film with these other actors who can't.
It would have been cool if they, as much as I love Maura Tierney, if they just replaced her with just one of the original actors that was just like one of the side characters from the first.
Or if Maura Tierney had been like the daughter of the aunt who cooks them breakfast or something, just
something tangent,
like a slight link, right? So, anyway, call me Hollywood.
Apparently there was a script that Helen Hunt was in support of, because it was kind of her character was going to be in this and a continuation of the story, but then they didn't want to do it and didn't want to have her in it, and it was like, well, if you aren't going to have the anchor and just go with this bland piece of shit, then that's a pass.
Yeah.
But I will tell you though that they did a sequel to the TV movie of Salem's Lot called Return to Salem's Lot, and I loved this movie. This movie is good bad. It is a Coen film, and it's so weird because it takes all the scariness of a vampire movie and removes it.
Yeah.
The vampires are seen early on. The weirdest part of this film is this is Tara Reid's first film. She's like a child actor in this. She's a vampire, and so the two main characters are a guy and his son who are reconnecting, and this is pure 80s family. the dad is a piece of shit. The kid is a piece of shit to him because the dad hasn't been around. So you're just watching these two go at each other and curse each other out and just be mean to each other the whole time. So when you see the eventual vampires that come into it, they just feed off of cows. Yeah, I know. It's weird because it doesn't have any of, like, as much as I don't like the Twisters and was, but there's no good part of it. There's no, like, it's good bad where you can make fun of it. Return to Salem's Lot is a home run of, like, just funny moments that you can just mock all the time because there's not really anything scary. All the vampires are just old people who are feeding off of cows. And so you don't really get to see a lot of, like, horror, but it's a Larry Cohen film. So it's like, he does his thing. So if you enjoy his type of films, it's a blast. I absolutely love it. And that's my highest recommendation for a film this Halloween is Return to Salem's Lot, because you will laugh and you will not be scared.
I was sold when I thought it was a Joel and Ethan Cohen film.
Yeah.
Isn't
other Cohen?
Bill Murray ended up in Garfield?
Yeah.
I don't know. A bunch of old people feeding off of cows just sounds like a Sunday at McDonald's. So I don't know. It's
getting listeria. How fun.
Yeah.
We have breaking news. I just got it on my watch. Billy the puppet from Saw that rides around in the tricycle.
Yeah.
Just performed a DJ set at Emo Night to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Saw movie. So there you go.
I didn't understand.
The puppet passed away.
I think that should be 20th anniversary though, because that's a movie from 2004. Maybe the tweet was wrong there. All right. Clay, we're gonna skip Agatha because I just want to have a whole show about Agatha once everybody watches it.
Yeah,
Josh,
it's been so fun.
I know. I'll get
They're
to
so
it.
short, Josh. You'll get it done in like a couple of days. Once it ends next week with the two episode premiere, so try to catch up.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we do in the shadows, and then we'll do comics. We might run a few minutes long if you guys can stick around. I will start with, because I probably feel a little different. I was not a big fan of this episode, and that's because I need.
Which one? There are three.
Oh, I only watched the first one.
Same.
The sleep hypnosis.
You saw the pilot.
I only watched the sleep hypnosis one.
Oh, okay.
With the fifth
Guillermo. Yeah, I need Guillermo to be in the middle, in the thick of things, and I think they needed to do this one episode to kind of reset some stuff, so that would work again. And I was like, you could have just done this in a cold open and then give me like a real episode. It was fine. It was just not like after last season. I was like, I felt like it was kind of a down. So that's all.
But here's why I disagree, and because being what we do in the shadows, the way the episode wrapped up means it can either be a one and done, which is how they usually do it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it wraps up, Jeff is in the archive, that's it. Or what I suspect, Jeff is going to be the through line the whole season. Jerry, sorry, yeah. And so as he is now redoing their desire to take over the United States, he's going to become the thing that all of them, because I think they're all going to kind of realize, we actually really like where we're at, and we want to keep this as is. So that's my theory. As soon as I watch the second episode, I'm sure that will be proven wrong, because probably Jerry will never show up again, and we're done with him. But that's my guess. So,
all right, Clay, what did you think?
I agree with you, Daniel. I think it could have been done in a quick like that, a quick like we're gonna restart here. I think I enjoy the fact that these vampires are so old. And they suddenly like come up with ideas of like, what could we do that? Like they're playing with the mythology of vampires. And so the fact that some of them know and some of them don't know is great, because
that was funny. The whole, would that even work? Like that they all said it?
Right.
That
was
and then when they go to Doug Jones and he does the recording, that whole recording and taking the headphones off with Guillermo.
Wait, is this in the first episode?
I think you watched something else because I don't know what you watched, Josh, because you were talking about your episode, and I was like, I don't remember.
I only watched the season opener for the last
The
season.
season opener was sleep hypnosis.
No, it was Jerry, them discovering the roommate that they didn't wake up.
Oh, did I watch the second one then?
You might have watched the second one then.
Okay.
Oh, then I need to go back and watch the first one.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't even know who Jerry
I'm
is.
really intrigued. Yeah, because that's Jerry. I was like sleeping. I just assumed you meant they didn't wake him up. But
okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay, cool.
No,
like
but
we're not. Yeah.
To me, the best joke in the Jerry one is that since they were supposed to wake him up on New Year's Eve of 1996. Colin Robinson decides it's his role to update Jerry on everything that's happened. And one is just playing that Billy Joel song. We didn't start the fire. And I just kept laughing about that because what a horrible. And he's like, wait, all this stuff is he's like, I already know some of this. I was like, no, it catches up later on. He does a lot of stuff that happened before. It's so good.
When they explain cars and automobile and planes to him, and he's like, I know that.
Who played Jerry? He didn't look familiar.
Michael Bryan, SNL.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see him. Now I know. Yeah. He always plays the straight man, right? Like it's kind of his shtick. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's really good. I can't believe they didn't stay with him. But I think right after that he did a SNL movie that just had a lot of the cast in it that he was really good in too. So I'm glad they added him. I think he needs more work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so interesting. Then he wasn't in the second one.
That just proves my theory. So yeah,
no comment on the third episode. I will tease the fourth episode that one of the best supporting characters of the entire series has an episode based in the fourth episode.
Jackie Daytona's back.
Is it? I'm assuming it's Mark Hamill.
Oh,
it's not Mark Hamill. Fuck.
No.
What's her name? What's her name? The lady, the newest vampire.
The Guide.
Oh, the Guide.
The Guide's already shown.
Yeah, she's at the end of the
he's a big fan of Ocean's 12 and loves their collectibles.
Oh, the
neighbor Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you not love him as a supporting guy? I think he's the best.
Yeah.
Oh no, I do. I was running.
I forget about the non-vampires.
Yeah,
because there's been so many vampires that show up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I loved when he was running for office last year, and that was like one of my favorite episodes.
Oh God, that one's good.
The Super Bowl episode.
The Super Bowl, but also because I feel like he and his wife show up in the one where they keep revealing themselves to the news newscaster. They have to keep trying to
wipe their mind.
Oh God, I love this show so much.
It's so good.
Obviously, Jeff doesn't watch this show.
You gotta watch it
for some reason.
So, I've started the first season. I'm just way behind. I'm way behind.
Yeah,
and it's been more Colin Robinson. He's had more FaceTime and talks and stuff because of all the different things that they're going through. So I totally dig it. And plus, the way Jerry is kind of reverse emotionally vampire is still causing him to feed, so he just becomes bigger
because he can't
control.
He's like riding around in a scooter.
What we do in the shadows is got to be the best TV on right now.
It's pretty good.
I agree.
I mean, it's no Matlock, but we'll talk about that later on. Kathy Bates is amazing.
I made the comment the other day. I popped up Hulu. I think we were going to watch What We Do in the Shadows, and they had just the little graphic for Matlock. And it's did they just not bother to hire anyone to make a logo? Because it's Arial font that just says Matlock.
Yeah.
And I'm this is weird. I could recreate that.
We're going to get worse and worse posters and ads for for stuff on streaming that's just going to be AI generated from an image from the movie and whatever the title is and whatever font. And it's going to be, we're going to miss out on great movies because the ad will look like shit.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, why don't you kick us off with comics? We'll go through this as quickly as we can. I know we're already pretty late.
I don't have much actually, but
Okay.
I have
So
zero.
go ahead, Jeff.
Well, let's start off with the biggest absolute Wonder Woman. This is amazing. I love this comic. This is Kelly Thompson,
nice.
Hayden Sherman. Yeah, it's fantastic. I loved it. It's Wonder Woman grows up in hell. And my favorite part is as a baby, they show her growing up as a baby. So the crux of the book is that she's still Diana from Themyscira. Like it's still that same kind of concept. It's taken from Themyscira as a baby and dropped in hell.
Reminds me of Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
That whole sequence with the baby, because like she's still super strong and like these things can't kill her. And
so she gets dropped off with Cersei. I can't really see where I am. Yeah. And she yeets this baby to where it actually says yeet. There it is. Yeet.
Snake,
This baby yeets this snake that's about to eat her.
Snake. Yeah.
She grabs the snake and she yeets it out out of
which, like I said, that's straight out of Hercules, the Disney movie.
Yeah. Anyway, this is really good. It's my favorite comic of the week. Followed by, this is straight for Josh, Monster Peace Theater, Godzilla versus Gatsby.
I am so hyped for this.
Is so great. And it is basically Great Gatsby, and then Godzilla shows up.
Nice.
Tom Scioli doing it. So
Tom Scioli doing it, and it's fantastic.
There's a review copy in our folder, Josh. If you don't get to go to the theater, if you don't get to go to the movie,
I did add it to my pull list. So
okay,
I
cool.
am super. I mean, I'll buy anything Tom Scioli does, but you combine Gatsby and Godzilla, which feels like it just came out of like either he took an edible and that just popped into his head, or a fever dream. So,
I just love that they're letting them do stuff like this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and the artwork it's very Tom Scioli, but it's very great. He's made for this. This is the third issue of Frankenstein. It is beautiful.
I haven't read it.
Comic.
I haven't read it, so spoil it.
Yeah, no spoilers. It's great. New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Clifford Chang and Jason Aaron. Still kicking, still good.
This one's about Leonardo, for those keeping track.
It's about Leo, and the next one's going to be about Donnie.
I almost picked this up. The Tin Can Society.
Yeah, so we did we read the first one for this show. Loved it. Picked up the second one. It's still good. It's still great. It's still a great show. The art, great comic. The artwork's still great. Mystery's even deeper. I recommend. I picked up the Sacred Damned #1. This is great. Oh my god, this was so good.
I love it.
This is the one that was in the back of the Manchurian, right?
I know. That's
it's
so. I'm so hyped.
I understand why you guys were so into it that day, because I stopped. Right, I didn't read ahead. Man, oh man.
Yeah, it's good.
I think there's two other ones. I'll put those up in box for you guys as well. The Horizon Experiment ones.
The Moon is Following Us #2. Again, we read issue #1 for the podcast a while back. This issue 2 just builds on issue 1, really deep. This one's mostly done by Daniel Warren Johnson, artwork wise, I think.
Nice.
So Daniel Warren Johnson's doing kind of like the real world stuff, and Riley Rossmo is doing the more fantasy stuff. So it's kind of broken up into two. So I got the Daniel Warren Johnson cover. These should be in our folder too. If they're not, let me know if you're gonna read it.
Yeah.
New Void Rivals with Pythona on the cover there.
Boy, that's a shocker. Again, another example of a cover ruining an issue, right?
She's not in it too much. But anyway, the newest issue of Grommets came out. Again, great coming of age story stuff. I'm really enjoying G. Willow Wilson's The Hunger and the Dusk. This is book 2, #3, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, #3.
Yep.
It's a big, full, lush world that she's building in here. It's a slow burn, but it's full of what's going on.
If you love fantasy, though, you need to be reading that.
I started picking up Detective Comics again because Tom Taylor is now joined.
New
along with
team.
artist. Yeah, Mikhail Janin. Looks like a pretty good story that they're building around. Just more Batman, honestly. Picked up the new Superman, Joshua Williamson and Dan Mora. Beautiful Dan Mora art. Doomsday. We get a little Doomsday stuff. The final issue of Zatanna, Bringing Down the House. This was a fun little miniseries event.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork. The newest issue of Action Comics that's gone weekly from Mark Waid and who is this? Clay Henry. Pretty good. The newest issue of the Avengers. It's all right. It's a solid run of the Avengers. I feel like there's so many good comics out right now. I'm kind of like, if you're just status quoing, then you're
you really have to stand out for me to be like, oh, this was just because everything is so good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So
this is the new issue. After Tom Taylor left, I'm like, this is Dan Waters taking over. I like Dan Waters, but again, it feels a little like after Tom Taylor's historic run, this feels a little.
Yeah.
That's been my problem with Venom. Like Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman was so good that I'm like, anything after that, I'm like,
it's that's a hard act to follow. I mean,
yeah. The newest issue of Green Arrow. I think I'm going to stop reading this because that's right. I feel like again, it's kind of run its course. I think they're about to get a new team as well. It feels like. Newest issue of X-Men, also by Jed McKay, also kind of okay. The newest issue of Hello Darkness, which has some pretty good stories, although this is my least favorite issue of them all so far.
I haven't read that one. I'll need to check it
out. The newest issue of X Factor. I think I'm about to drop this. I love Mark Russell, but it's just not doing it for me. Also, I've seen it in Ecstatics before.
Okay. That's tough to top.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never get Mark Russell on the pod now.
I love Mark Russell. I think my problem is that I started off with his like 3 strongest things that I've read so far. So Flintstones, Wonder Twins, and
Snagglepuss. Snagglepuss?
Snagglepuss is not him. It's
oh yeah.
Oh
no, it's the one with Jesus and Superman.
Second Coming.
Second Coming. Yeah. Second Coming is great. So, but everything I've read to like the robot one, I've read some other stuff by him, and I'm kind of like, okay, I get it, and I feel like you've done it better before.
Gotcha.
This is the most recent issue of Dazzler. I think it's fun, but it is what it is. I was excited about this newest Iron Man. This is the last one I bought, but I don't like it at all.
Wow.
I also wasn't a big fan either, and the problem. I have 2 big problems with it. First of all, you give me a Jasmine Putri cover, and then she's not on the inside. That's strike number
big
1.
Problem.
Because the art inside is fine. It's Julius Odo, I think, but it's just like very traditional Marvel style. The second problem is that he just got his company back from Fei Long, and it's another corporate takeover. Now, there's a lot the difference to this, but like the story's kind of like he just lost Stark Industries again to like AIM or something. Or AIM and
I feel like he's Iron Man. The character of Iron Man has the same problem as Captain America in that new writers come in and they have their Iron Man story, but it's always like he's lost his money and he's got to start from scratch. And so every new series we kind of get that, and I'm just like, okay, but we've seen it before, so you got to do it great in order for me to get into it. And if you're not bringing everything, then it's just like anything. And every single Captain America is like government conspiracy. And I'm like, okay, well, you're doing the same thing everybody else does, which is why I like this new Straczynski run, because it's Cap and magic. So it's stuff that has nothing to do with him. And it's kind of boring, but it's also like something we've never seen before, you know?
Which is why I like the Mark Waid run with Chris Samney, because it was like, it's more like Cap traveling across the country, fixing stuff and helping people out. But yeah, I was a little disappointed with this, unfortunately.
And why the last Iron Man run with Jerry Duggan was interesting, because it was still that concept. He was out of sorts as Iron Man and Tony Stark as the rich and powerful, but he was coupled with what was going on with Krakoa and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a bit more. There was that new wrinkle to it, at least.
Right.
So
Yep. All right. Cool. Thanks, Jeff. Let me get through a few more highlights, because I'll probably do a separate video where I show you guys everything, because I bought a lot of stuff this week, because this is the last week of foils. So But I did pick up Green Lantern Dark. Green Lantern Dark, the new Elseworld story. It's really cool. Tate Brombow's doing this. He worked on House of Slaughter from the Something Killing Children universe.
Oh, nice.
With Werther Daldera on art. So like it really works. It's fun. It's a new take on Green Lantern. Feels a little bit Stephen King because it takes place in the northeast, like in an island that's kind of forgotten to this apocalypse. So that's really cool. I'm still picking up Power Fantasy. I haven't read this one, but this book is so good. Oh my god, Kieran Gillen is doing some amazing stuff. We should have the issues in our folder if you're not if you want to catch up. I also picked this up. I haven't read it. Wonder Woman. I already talked about that. So the last thing I'll talk about is Alien Romulus #1. This is a one shot that's the prelude to the movie. So if you wanna check that out, I really enjoyed it. Funny enough, Fede Alvarez has a foreword in this where he talks about. You can probably read this before. I think this was supposed to meant to have come out before the film, because in the description, in the synopsis, they mentioned that the film's coming out in August 2024. I'm like, well, that was months ago. So, and just 2 highlights from last week. Declan Shalvey's doing a Mystique book where it's kind of all about espionage, but like with Mystique that really works because of her powers. So that's really fun. And then I don't know if you guys read it, but The Exorcism at 1600 Pen.
No,
It was really, really good.
Is it just those 2 issues, or?
Oh no, it's just 1 issue. This is the same. It's different.
Oh, I got you. Just 2 covers.
So, yeah,
I did read the advanced copy. It reads like a horror movie.
It really does. It's only 4 issues, but the premise, I'll say it again. We have elected the first woman president. That's not the horror part. That's the hopeful part. But then
I'm so glad you verified that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I needed clarification.
But then there's a possession that happens in the White House, like days following her coming into office. But it's interesting. What I liked the most was like exploring her family and having to adjust to becoming the family of the president of the United States. I think that's a really cool concept. So yeah, highly recommend it. What's her name? Vanessa Del Rey's art. It's very cool. Like it's very scratchy and a little bit like not, what do you call it? Not very detailed, but it's like you kind of get it's really more about the tone. But
that's nice.
You don't have like specific, like people don't look exactly like people. Everything looks a little off. But I think that's to kind of give you the mood of what we're going for. So, yeah. And Batman and Robin Year One came out. I don't know why I can't find it, but it's really good. Mark Waid and Chris Samney speaking of. So, all right. Let me kick it off back to Josh to kind of close out with your comic book stuff.
Yeah. So I haven't picked up my books this week.
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Jeff.
I haven't picked up my books this week. I did check though, and I think the only titles you guys haven't talked about is Conan the Barbarian #16, which I'm really hyped about because it's a Colleen Doran cover, and I'm really, really excited to get it. I actually chose the one without the
trade dress.
Yeah, thank you. Just so I could get the full image. And Babs #3, which is anyone else here reading Babs? Because if not, you're missing out. It is.
I am.
Okay, good. All right, yeah. It's why the fuck am I blinking his name? Preacher.
And Garth
Ennis?
Garth Ennis doing basically funny, raunchy Red Sonja. It's good.
Oh, wait. I thought Babs was short for Battle of the Blackstone.
No, but that's also really good.
Because it does work, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
So anyway, so I have a look at this fucking giant backlog of issues. I'll just show you a few that I haven't read yet. Probably you guys went through all of these in previous shows. Crypt of Shadows, which is kind of Marvel's one-shot Halloween anthology. I'm about halfway through it. It's pretty fun. I will be so sad when these series end. Habitats from the Abyss #4. I'm hyped about. Fantastic Four, continuing to read. Really excited about this. It's issue 26. Plastic Man #2.
Wow.
enjoying that.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on Black Cloak, Gotham by Gaslight, Rocketeer. I'm still shocked. I really thought this was just going to be a one-off, but this is now issue 3 of Hate Revisited. So got that. All of my Inner John Universe books I'm behind on. So,
I need to finish Scarlet and Destro. I need to finish reading those.
Yeah, I know. I'm way behind on all that. A few facsimiles. I got this Batman and Robin last week. I'm excited about. It's I forget if there's a first appearance in here or not. I don't think so. Amazing Spider-Man, continuing the black costume saga. I've been getting those. I'm continuing to torture myself with Secret Wars. At least I'll have the whole series again. Again, Frankenstein. Here's Babs. This is issue 2. Issue 3 came out this week. Really fun. I love the inversion of the normal cover, which is Babs in the middle and then Conan being the the sexy side piece at the bottom. Zatanna, Helena Windhorn, Doctor Who, still reading that. But I just a couple of things that came out that I was sort of surprised about. 2 of these are pickup series from ones I'd read before. So Where Monsters Lie Cul-de-sac is now the sequel to the original. So I'm really hyped about that because I really like the original. Survival Street is back. Survival Street Radical Left. So I was pretty excited about that too. And then I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. Did anyone else read Murder Kingdom?
No, is that from Medcave? No, I got to look it up.
Yeah. So this is basically a murder mystery set in Disneyland.
Oh.
Which I just read that and was like, well, that sounds great. So anyway, so that's the stuff I still need to read. Really quickly, what I did read, though. Saga number 69. I want this as a fucking poster, this cover. Because actually, when you get to this moment in the book, it's way darker. way darker. But yeah, oh God, Saga is just so good. I am so excited. I've never said this about a series getting done because then you can just take this whole series and hand it to someone and say, just enjoy, right? Like, just go read this. So yeah, that's really great. There is a moment in this issue that, unless you are a deeply broken individual, will make you tear up. And that's all I'll say. But I was just like, had to step away for a minute. Battle of the Blackstone continues to be amazing. I'm glad you're enjoying that, Danny.
I know. And you can read it without having been caught up on the Conan stuff.
Yeah, totally agree. Even down to the fact that if you're reading the current Conan book, it has nothing to do with Battle of the Blackstone. So it is actually kind of a retelling of a classic. I did not realize this till I got to the end when they kind of explained it. It's a retelling of a classic original Conan story. More Cruel Universe. At this point, I'm just showing off covers because I paid extra for a fancy cover. I've never done this in my life, but I'm doing it for these. And then finally, I'll just say I'm bouncing off of this. It's not doing it for me. I don't know what it is. It just
bummer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe later in trade, I'll give it another shot. But anyway, that's it.
All right. Clay, did you have anything?
No.
For comics? Okay, good. Because we are so late now already.
I know. Sorry.
No, it's fine. All right. Clay, I see you have some recommendations. You want to close out with that? I don't have anything. I mean, I've talked about so many things. But just stay tuned on the channel. We'll have reviews for Venom, for the Conclave, and for Saturday Night. And then some other videos. So stay tuned for that. And so go ahead, Clay. And then if anybody else has anything.
Okay. Yeah, I just was going to pitch, find out who your local Creature Feature host was back in the day, because they go back to like the 1950s. And I've always talked about Joe Bob on here. I've been a big Elvira fan. Svengoolie is on MeTV. Yep. There are a ton of horror hosts out there that I think everyone should at least kind of find out who your local one is, or find one online that you really enjoy. And you'll get introduced to so many great horror films, whether they're good or bad. Most of the time, the host makes it better. I will guarantee you with Joe Bob and Elvira and Sven Gulli, they always make the movie better. And I'm just always a big fan of these hosts. You know, I talk about Mystery Science Theater that doesn't necessarily do horror. But I was surprised that we had hosts going all the way back to the 50s that did these kind of things. And they were all like Chicago, Texas, New York. They were all over the place.
Vincent Price, right? He hosted
Vincent Price was a host.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
check out your local horror host and enjoy some horror movies you may never have seen.
Yeah. And let us know down in the comments what's your favorite Halloween thing to do. Your favorite tradition to watch, I guess, even if it's a commercial, Jeff. So, all right. If nobody has anything else, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for staying with us for an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And have a good Halloween. Bye, everyone.
Guys, take care.
Bye.
See ya.
The most important thing in life will always be
Hell, Bebo.
Simon Sinner, get the fuck out.